So guys, welcome to the video. Today we're going to learn how to wet blend. So without further ado, let's give it a whirl. Okay guys, all the way through this, you're going to be able to see my wet palette in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, so you can see what I'm doing, what paints I'm using. But basically, all we're going to do to start is nice and easy. We're going to block in the colours. So for this model, I'm going to do a transition between this sort of vibrant yellow, and then I'm going to wet blend that into white, and then have a transition between like a desaturated sort of bright yellow into a really saturated yellow. I've done this with two other Pterodon models. One was white into red, so we've got sort of a pink-red gradient, and the other one was white into blue, so you've got sort of a desaturated, sort of bright blue into a more saturated blue. Once we've got the yellow where we want it, we start adding the white. The trick to wet blending is work fast. And as you can see from this now, it's already starting to blend. So that white, as we move into the yellow, starts to take on some of that yellow tone. No need to worry about neatness or anything at this stage. We're just getting the blocking in colours in, so the transition position is not that important as long as you've got the main colours in place. Another thing to consider while you're wet blending is we work with slightly thicker paints than we would usually. You know, we've all got the mantra of too thin coats, but when wet blending, it's usually a little bit better to work with a bit thicker paint because the drying time is a bit longer, so we've got more time to blend it. And then all we're doing at the moment is just mixing this white in with this yellow. So we're just slowly mixing it in. I drag it up into the yellow, and then I go horizontally along the gradient where the two colours meet. Okay, next I like to make a mid-tone. So I take sort of 50-50 parts of whatever the two colours are, so in this case the yellow and the white, and I make a little mid-tone on my palette, and I use that in the middle of the transition. It'll be mostly that colour anyway. It's just part of the blocking in phase. You can skip this if you want. I just find it easier to eyeball where the transitions are going to be. It's also helpful to have that mid-tone there if you ever need to touch up anything in the middle. Exactly the same techniques. We're just blending them colours together. So I'm dragging the mid-tone into the saturated colour and the mid-tone into the desaturated colour, and I'm just blending them lines slowly and surely. Drag it in and then blend across the line. Drag it in, blend across the line. Once you've got that basic transition that you're after and that blend you want, now you just repeat the process. So here you can see I'm re-establishing that saturation that's been lost. I'm going to bring that saturation right down this time. Once I've hit where I want, I'm going to re-establish the white. I'm going to bring that right up into the yellow. So I'm moving the brush horizontally across the blend. Then I start to go vertically as I drag each into each other. You can see the transition starting to appear. Then back to horizontally again, just to smooth out the transition. You're effectively just bringing them two colours together on the model. And then it's just a case of messing about with it then. Do you want more saturation? Do you want less saturation? Do you want the blend further up, lower down? It's all a case of just messing about with it until you get the desired result. Honestly, I don't know why I did the video on wet blending using yellow. It's one of the worst colours to work with. It's really hard to get coverage. But I will have some examples at the end of the other two colours that I use on the wings as well. So you'll see the wet blends for all three colours. The other two are probably better blends, to be honest. Okay, so just keep faffing with it. Depending on the colour, it'll need more faffing. So yellow's particularly hard to get coverage on, so that'll need more work than most. The red and the blue needed much less repeating of the steps. But just keep going with it. And as always, it's your transition, so you know when you're happy with it. And that's it, guys. That's how you wet blend. So this is the transition that I was left with. This part that I'm doing now, I'm dragging the saturated colour down into the desaturated colour in sort of lines. This is not part of the wet blending process. This is just the specific look I was going for on the wings. So this bit doesn't need to be done.